All right, good morning, all my fellow traders. Sorry for the late start this morning. Had a couple of minor technical issues getting things rolling. TradeStation, in fact, is still not up. But anyway, I am Jonathan Van Clute. It is Friday, August 16th, 2019. Yet another week has come and gone. And boy, what a week it has been. Last week kicked things off with a huge bang and then reversed, and then this week has gone the other direction again. It has been a heck of a ride. Major roller coaster here. And this is playing out very much as I was anticipating. Not exactly. I'm a little surprised we didn't get more follow through here. I was really kind of thinking we'd probably more double bottom, maybe even get slightly below there, take out some stops, something like that. But at the moment, anyway, it's looking like the daily wave C may in fact be complete. So, if that is the case, then we are looking for upside from here. Will we get it? Well, that's what we need to wait and see. But at the moment, anyway, it looks like it. We could even, if we want to, throw a trend line down here and put it right about there. And that is kind of my current line in the sand for upside. If we get below that and hold below there, then I'd be looking for some more downside continuation. But right this second, it's kind of looking like we may be all through. Looking at the 60-minute chart, we have clearly, after coming down hard to the wave A there, we bounced up. And that was all well and good until we kind of double topped right about there and then fell back down again. But like I said, did not fall quite as far as I expected. So this moment anyhow, it's looking like the bulls have taken control back again. They want to be buying this dip. And the buyers are starting to come out of the woodwork. Now, look at the range in these candles. It's nothing compared to the down ranges. So I believe there are still sellers waiting in the wings. I do not necessarily think we are completely out of the woods yet. But, we will see. If the buyers are confident enough to keep buying this market up, then we will have upside. It's just kind of as simple as that. That being said, I don't really need this anymore because we have completed that retracement. So right now we just gotta wait and see what happens. Can we actually get over this level here? I mean, this is currently the major high to get over, at which point then it's just a question of can we basically get through the all-time highs and this big sell zone here. In fact, speaking of that, it should move to about there. Anyway, can the market do that? Does it have enough in it? Are the buyers confident enough to push it up over that 3,000 level and then keep it there and keep going? I have my doubts, but what do my doubts mean? They don't mean anything. So what matters is what the price is doing, and right now, anyhow, the price is wanting to move higher. We did come down. And we formed the lower low, lower high, and now we have failed to make a lower low, and we have broken the lower high. So short term anyway, 60-minute chart, the trend is up. So we'll have to see what happens once the market gets underway today. Do we hold that direction? Do things continue to the upside, or what? 13 EMA has crossed the 50, so that's an initial bullish sign, but the 50 is still very much sloping downwards. So we're, like I said, not out of the woods yet for sure. On the 60-minute. On the daily, the 13 is still well below the 50, so definite still caution on the daily. MACD is still below its signal line. Momentum is not really turned around yet. Everything is still below the zero line, so it's very questionable right now. We are in a sort of a transitionary state. Market trying to make up its mind. Is it going to head higher or head lower? And either way, you can trade it, but this is a tough time. With this kind of volatility happening, things get a little bit more challenging for most traders. So if you're having a hard time stomaching the volatility, trade smaller positions, trade a smaller contract size. If you're trading futures, go to the micros, something like that. I recommend that over and over again, but just get smaller. That way you can still maintain nice wide stops where they need to be, because your stops have to be based on price action, not based on arbitrary dollar amounts. You can't just say, well, I don't want to lose more than $300, so I'm going to put my stop here. It doesn't work that way. You have to base it on price action. So go smaller so that you can still do that. All right, let's take a quick look at RTY, and not surprisingly, very much the same. RTY did, however, come much closer to tagging the bottom from last week. Didn't quite get there, but got a lot closer, and now is wanting to head higher. So the difference here is RTY, although it came down to here, there's the lower high. We have not yet broken that lower high. So RTY is weaker than kind of the rest of the market. It's sort of the weakest of the indexes at this point, and I'm not real confident that it is just going to charge to new highs. Although, if the broader markets, the Dow, the Nasdaq, etc., decide to do that, if the buyers are willing to come in, I expect that the RTY would get dragged along in its wake. So it could have upside from here, but just keep in mind, if you trade RTY, it has been quite a bit weaker than everything else. So on the plus side, that's been sort of a leading indicator. When the market is going to head lower, the RTY kind of does it first. So keep an eye on the RTY and see if it starts heading down and ES, for example, starts struggling to head higher, or price starts stalling out. Then RTY might be giving you a first indication that there is downside ahead. Right now, again, much like ES, everything is technically in the bear camp. Big picture, MACD line below signal line, oscillator below the 0 line, price below the 50, 13 below the 50, price below the 13. I mean, everything is still bearish right now. We are still lower lows, lower highs. We have so far failed to make a lower low, but the question is, do we break the lower high, or do we go just sideways, come to somewhere here, and then head lower? That is perfectly reasonable for that to happen. We may not be done with this wave C down yet. So be very, very cautious at this time. In fact, looking at this, it's a little hard to have a lot of conviction on this because the volatility is just so extreme. I'm trying to look at wave counts, and I don't really see a pretty picture. I don't see a very clear, concise wave count, and your best bet when you don't really see anything with clarity is not to even try to put the waves down. Just give it time to clarify, or go to a bigger time frame. It can be easier to see things on the bigger time frames. So right now, I'm just going to leave this be and see what the market wants to give us today on this Friday. All right, crude oil, and crude had a really, really nice pop up. I am definitely thinking that this is a wave 1 up. Now we're looking for a wave 2 down. Is this it? Is it done? It's not an unreasonable pullback for a wave 2 down. It is within our Fibonacci target area. I would like to have seen it maybe come a little bit lower, but I'm okay with this. So if we now break this high, then I think we're looking for a wave 3 to the upside. And then on a bigger time frame, the weekly wave 2 finished here. So that would put us in the daily 3 of a weekly 3. So that is looking very intriguing. Excuse me, yes, daily 3. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Anyway, that could suggest definite upside for crude oil for sure. So that's the level to watch. Really big picture, watch for that high to get broken, and if that happens, then I do believe we should have further upside ahead. I would imagine if we see that, we will also see the oscillator get over the 0 line. Oscillator certainly was very, very divergent at the bottom of this wave here. MACD line has gotten above its oscillator. Let's see, price is, price peaked above the 50. It wasn't able to hold it and pulled back down, but didn't pull back down all that far, and is kind of getting carried along now by the 13. So if the 13 can cross the 50, price can cross the 50. If everything can get above the 50, and the oscillator following along with it, everything will switch to bullish, and then we're looking for definite upside in crude. So 60-minute will display that first, so watch for higher highs and higher lows to give you some continuation. You can see this pullback here. It's kind of looking to me like an A, a B, a C, and now a wave 1 up, and a 2 down. And if this is done, then we will see higher. So watch for that. That's your level. All right, let's take a peek at gold. And gold is trying to hang on to these highs. It has not been charging ahead to make higher highs, but I do think we may be out of steam here on the daily wave 5, in which case it's time for a pullback correction anyway. Right now, the trend is still technically very bullish, no question. We're still up, oscillator above the 0 line, MACD above the signal line, higher highs and higher lows, price above the 13, 13 above the 50. Everything is still firmly in the bull camp, but we are at a sell zone. We are in resistance. Definitely think that gold is going to struggle to just go straight up higher from here. I am expecting a correction, maybe somewhere down around in here or thereabouts. There's kind of a big congestion area in here that would serve as a nice support and give us a nice possible pullback zone. So watch for that, and I would expect, if that happens, for things to correlate to the market heading higher, the broader market, that is. So if ES is able to recover further, maybe today, maybe some of next week, that might lend fuel to a pullback in gold. But I do believe that there are higher highs yet ahead. I don't think the market is in a great place. I don't think the things overall in the financial world are in a great place. So I am leaning towards there being more downside in the broader markets and possibly upside for gold. But what does that mean? My leanings are meaningless. So what we care about is the price, and right now anyway, price action still bullish. So if that changes on the 60-minute time frame, we take out this low here. That's going to be a definite cue that things are not going to hold, and we are looking to head lower. Right now already the oscillator is in the bear camp, but that's not a huge indication. That's just on the 60-minute. If we see lower lows and lower highs and continuing of that, if we can break this lower low, that'll be our first hint that we're gunning for this lower low. And if that can be taken out, then definitely a full-blown downtrend correction is in place. All right, natural gas. Natural gas is just doing exactly what I talked about. It has gone right up to the top of its channel, almost kissed it, and now is pulling back again. So what's going to happen? Are we just going to continue to go in this channel forever and just bleed in the downwards direction? What's going to happen? Who knows? Right now, it's just stuck in this channel. That's just all there is to it. Natural gas is just getting hammered. And what we would need to see for that to change is for price to come down, make a higher low, and then head higher and break that channel and get out of it. And do that on a momentum shift, get some bullish momentum, oscillator above the 0 line, for example. MACD line has already crossed, but that's not surprising. I mean, we did have this sort of bounce off the bottom of the channel. It's just, boy, it's a choppy market in a downwards trending diagonal trend. So you can see how choppy it's been on the 60-minute chart. Just these chop. It's been a kind of a brutal market. If you're a really short-term trader, you might be loving it. Just grab these little quick moves and get in, get out. But if you're trying to get any kind of like real trend move, your only trend is down, and that's tough for most people. Trading to the short side is not something most people are naturally suited for. So if you're struggling in this market, I would just say hold off. I do believe that a bottom is going to be put in at some point in the near future, and from there we may see a huge new bull run up. But until that begins, what I think is meaningless. Right now the price action is still lower lows, lower highs, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and lower high at the moment. And if that holds, then the next thing down is going to be to break that lower low. So just be prepared, trade cautiously. This is a tough market. All right, let's wrap up with Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a very deep correction. Wow, I'm a little surprised at how deep this correction went. We've got this wave up and then pullback. But the nice thing about that is what that suggests is that we're in a 3-1, a 3-2, and next move up is a 3-3. So a wave 3 of wave 3, that is going to be a big deal. We break that high, and there's going to be some serious momentum to the upside ahead. And just looking at my extension targets, I'm looking at a target of somewhere. Actually, let me pull this. Let me do this. It'll be easier to see. If I pull this down, there we go. I'm looking at a target of somewhere around here. based on the much larger correction, much deeper correction from the top of the weekly 3 here to the low there, or actually, excuse me, to the low there, or we looking for a target on this move here, and I'm looking for something in this area. And two of those do kind of overlap right in here, the 161 of one extension and the 261 of the other extension. So I am liking this for a sort of target zone, resistance area, something like that. I'm thinking that could be our wave 3-3. So 1, 2, 3 right into that zone somewhere, and then a 4, and then a push higher for wave 5 that might get us up near those all-time highs, the 20,000 zone in Bitcoin. I know a lot of people are expecting 20K Bitcoin by the end of the year, and I don't think that's out of the question. I do not think it's unreasonable. But price action is going to be what we have to look at to determine if that is in fact going to happen. So right now, you can see it on the 60-minute. We've got our first sign of possibly higher highs and higher lows. We did have a lower low, and then a lower high, a higher low, and so far now we're waiting to see, is it going to break the lower high? If that can happen, then I think our next move to the upside is underway. So watch for that. Bitcoin is a little crazy volatile, so be prepared. If you trade this market, you've got to be able to just get in, get out, or you've got to be able to hold comfortably for quite some time. So that's basically it for Bitcoin. All right, take a quick peek again at the ES, and buyers are trying to step in right now, trying to push things up on this candle, but it's really not doing much. It's a pretty small candle. It's basically just sideways. We are holding the overnight push, though. There was a nice move up overnight, so the question I'm going to have is, are the U.S. session traders going to take that ball and run with it, or are they going to see this as a selling opportunity and slam it back down again? It is going to be very interesting to see what happens today. So that's it. Again, I'm Jonathan, and throw in a comment if you've got anything to tell me or ask me, anything I can do to help your trading. Make sure you give a thumbs up on the video if you like this kind of stuff, and give me a subscription to the channel if you would like to be kept informed of what I'm doing in the future. I do these on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so I will do this again on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. If you are out in the Bay Area, California, keep cool. It's brutal, been brutal the last couple of days, miserably hot, and it may continue a bit through the weekend. So try to keep cool and do something fun. All right, have a good one, everybody. Take care. See you next week. Trade well. Bye-bye.